Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Cutting Through the Bullshit. I am your host, Dr. Stephanie Snyder, and I am a high performance mentor. Through my unique blend of strategy, mindset, and intuition, I help men and women to cut through the BS in order to create the life and business they desire. So, I'm excited for today's topic. As usual, there are very few times that I get on here and I'm not excited about the topic. But I am actually feeling better. My kids were so gracious as to share their stomach bug with me over the weekend. And oh my God, I don't wish that upon my worst enemy. That was awful. So I am actually feeling like a human today. Grateful to be alive and out of bed and dressed and showered, and I washed my hair, all the things. So you're getting me in fantastic space right now. So today we're going to talk about a big thing that keeps us from actually moving forward and creating our life and business that we desire. And I've talked about this a lot because I use this really great analogy where when I work with my clients, I want to know where they are so I can help them get where they want to be. And I talk about this in a driving metaphor, right? So if you are living in Florida, and you don't want to tell me that you're in Florida, you want to tell me that you're in Massachusetts because that's where you think you should be, I can get you directions to California from Massachusetts. But they're going to be pretty different directions than if you were going from Florida, right? And so it's going to take you a little bit longer to get to California from Florida simply because you have told me that that's not where you are. Right? You've told me you're in Massachusetts. You're farther up the East Coast than you currently are, right? And I say all of that because we do this to ourselves. We don't want to accept where we are currently because we think we should be farther along by now, that we actually screw ourselves up. So what do I mean by this? I mean that you've got to accept where you are right now. Right now, in this very moment, if you can accept that this is your current reality, then we can start to change it. You can accept who you are right now, then we can start to change it. But as long as you're out here in La La Land, wanting to tell me that you are in Massachusetts when you actually live in Florida, it's going to be harder for me to help you. It's not going to be impossible. It's just going to be a little bit more difficult. So how do you do this? With love and grace and a whole lot of compassion. So what do I mean by self-acceptance? This doesn't mean that you start to negate all of your positive things, right? It doesn't mean that you belittle yourself and you're like, oh, well, I'm 40 years old and I'm never going to be young again and this is my lot in life and this is what I've signed up for. That's not what I'm suggesting. Okay? I'm suggesting that you say, you know what? Here's where I am. What I know so far has gotten me to this point, but now I'm ready to educate myself and change that trajectory because so far what I know hasn't gotten me where I want to go. So let's change it. If you want to change where you are, you've got to change what you know and the actions that you take, right? So if you want to be rich, you've got to do what rich people do. If you want to be healthy, you've got to do the things that healthy people do, right? And not do the things that the unhealthy or the poor do. It is simply an education process, right? But you've got to say, okay, I don't know this thing. I'm not entirely sure. And that's okay. It is okay to be where you are. 1,000,000 times over. It's okay. It's okay. You're not behind. You haven't missed the mark. Life isn't over. You're just where you are. And that's all right. It's a perfect place to start. So accepting where you are is going to be paramount to get where you want to go. Because if you tell me that you're a world-class chef and you don't know how to turn on an oven, we're going to have a situation. Right? Maybe you want to be a world-class chef, and that's awesome. I love that for you, right? But we've got to be honest about where we're starting. Same sort of thing. If you go to the gym and you decide that you want to bench 200 pounds, okay? If you get on the bench and you tell your buddy, oh, I can bench 200 pounds, no worries whatsoever, and you get on the bench and you try to put up 200 pounds and you've never benched it before in your entire life, there's probably going to be a little bit of a struggle. You might even injure yourself. And so it's okay to say, you know what? I think I'm just going to bench 50 pounds today. That's probably all I have in me. Cool. That's a great place to start. Because at least you're being honest with yourself. You're not going to injure yourself along the way. So this self-acceptance is saying, okay, here's where I am. And it's fine. It is what it is. I'm ready for the next level. Where do I go next? How do I get there next? Right? You've got to accept where you are on some level and say, okay, here's where I am. I'm ready to go, right? Like, I know I am not as creative as my friend Jessica. She's amazing. She'll be legitimately, like, I've watched this in action. Kids will be like ready to burn down the house and she can pull out a piece of paper and all of a sudden all of the children are impressed with her making whatever it is. She is so creative. Like, she has more creativity in her pinky than I do in my entire body for the arts and craft things, right? Like, she taught herself how to sew. She teaches herself how to, like, I will never forget. We went out one night and I love this story about her. She's awesome. So we went out one night and we were going to an opening of something, and it was at a brewery, I think. And it was during the summer, and I think we drove separately that day. I'm not entirely sure why, but we drove separately that day. And she walks in and she looked fabulous. I said, oh my God, I love your dress. Where did you get that? And she goes, oh, I sewed it this afternoon. Like, WTF? Oh, I sewed it this afternoon. Okay, cool, right? Like, if we could only be so fabulous, right? But the point is, I know that that's not where I am right now. I'm not going to try to tell you that I sewed my outfit today. Absolutely not, because then you'd probably be like, oh, well, what kind of pattern did you use and what was your stitch? And I would know zero of those things, right? So I accept the fact that I am not an incredible seamstress right now. I could be if I wanted to be. I don't want to be. And that's okay, right? But I went through this kind of self-defeating thing when I was first a mom, where I was like, I have to be the best homemaker ever, right? I had to make everything from scratch, and I had to decorate these cakes, and I had to learn to sew, and I overwhelmed myself with the fact that I was going to be this incredible homemaker. I'm okay buying the cake. I'm okay making a cake from a box now and letting the kids decorate it. Like, I know that that's not where I'm at. That's not the gift that God gave me. And that's okay. It's okay. But I had to get to this point where I was like, I can't do all the things that everybody else is great at and be great at it too. Right? I could, but I would probably make myself crazy trying to be great at what everybody else is great at. Instead, I'm going to get really good at being me. Really great at being the best version of me. And that started with me going, okay, the best version of me, what does that look like? Okay, how do I educate myself and get there? Where am I right now? I'm in Florida. No, I'm actually in Virginia, right? Like, I'm in Virginia right now, hypothetically trying to get to California. I'm going to have pretty clear directions on how to get to California from Virginia because I know where I am. I'm accepting of the fact that this is where I am right now in life. And anything that I need to move on, I can figure out the way. I can educate myself. But it started with me going, okay, that's not for me. I love that you can do that. I cannot do that. I love that you can do that. I cannot do that. Right? Like my kids, my son is an incredible golfer, solely dedicated to golf, right? Incredible. I'm a social golfer. I will never have the same handicap as him. Right? My oldest daughter, she is amazing on the soccer field. I will never kick a ball like she does. And that's okay, right? Like my 9-year-old, she has so much focus and so much tenacity when she gets on the soccer field that it is so fun to watch. You literally see it like switch, like her competition goes to a different level. And that's amazing, right? My 7-year-old, she can light up any room. She walks in and she is like the star of the show, right? Like my kids all have these unique, amazing gifts and abilities that I don't even want to try to learn them all, right? Like we are all incredible in our own unique way. You're amazing just as God made you. You've got to be okay with where you are in order to get to that next level. And that's where we stop ourselves so short because we think, oh, well, I should be farther along now. We compare ourselves to all these other people around us that we stop recognizing our own God-given abilities. And we stop giving ourselves credit for the things that we're actually incredible at already. Because we're worried about Sally, who's a really good putter, or we're worried about, Monica, who is a really great chef, right? Like, I know that those are not necessarily things I'm going to be incredible at. And that's okay. I'm happy to pay people that are incredible at those other things, right? Like, that's all right. I'm okay with that. Happy to be okay with a subpar birthday cake, because I'm not stressing myself about the fact that I didn't make a 14-tier wedding cake look beautiful, right? Like, I'm okay with that. One of the girls I went to elementary and middle school with, she has a bakery in Florida, and I am so impressed with all the things that she comes out with. I'm like, oh my God, that's incredible, right? She could teach me how to do it. Probably wouldn't be as good as she is, right? But I love that, and I'm accepting the fact that that's probably not going to be what I'm really great at. And that's okay. I don't have to be great at everything to appreciate what you're great at. I can accept where I am and go, okay, this is what God gave me. These are the gifts that I have. And if I want to dabble in something, that's cool. Totally allowed to dabble in things. I can have hobbies all day long, right? I love riding horses. Am I going to be in the Olympics for riding horses? Nope. Probably not. Right? That's okay. That's okay. That's not where God is sending me. And if it was where God was sending me, I'd have a whole lot more involved in it, right? So I say all of this and I share these stories with you because you are incredible as you are. You've got to accept where you are currently if you want to move forward with your progression in life, right? And if you're perfectly content, I absolutely love that for you too, right? I know for me, I want to be constantly evolving. I want to be getting better at my craft. I want to be sharing more with people. I want to have a greater impact. And so in order to do that, I have to say, okay, this is where I am right now. This is okay, right? Prime example, okay? I just started learning about investing in the stock market, right? Now, full disclosure, I have retirement funds and stuff, but I decided that I wanted to actively learn about stock investing. Holy crap, is that a whole different world than what I'm used to, right? Now, if I jumped into a conversation with somebody who was like, oh yeah, I've been investing for years, I would look like a total moron in that conversation because I wouldn't have the slightest clue as to what any of them were talking about. right? So I'm okay saying, hey, you know what? I'm new at this, willing to learn, happy to learn. It's okay to be new at something. We were all new at something. We were all new at everything at one point in time. And that's okay. Doesn't put you far behind. It doesn't make you any less than anybody else, right? As one of my mentors says, equal but different, right? And I love that. Equal but different. We are all great at something. My something is probably different than your something. Just like my kids' things are different than my things. Right? So, I'm sending you all of this love. I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day. And if you are looking forward to 2025 and you want to love yourself boldly going into 2025, I do have private coaching spots available. And I would be happy to have a conversation with you to see how I can support you to be more of you. So I'm sending you so much love. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And as always, be you, because the world needs more of you. Bye.